the map for the territory. And you cannot go swimming. A map is not the territory. Maps are handy. Maps are very handy. But if you forget that your mental map of who you are isn't who you are, then you make some very big mistakes. And there are some big consequences. And as I said earlier, the main consequence is that you create suffering. As soon as you begin to believe that the whole universe really is divided into on and off, or good and evil, or any other pairs of opposites, and you begin to think that white must win, or on must win, or good must win, then you set yourself up for suffering, because these pairs of opposites, which are created in your mind, they go together, and there's no way you can have one without the other. So people spend their lives in great frustration trying to make one side of these polarities that are made up anyway to make them win. Now, as profound as that idea, another idea that Alan Watts would talk about that I always thought was quite remarkable was the idea that the universe is actually aware of itself. This is something actually that Hindus have said for thousands of years, Buddhists have said for thousands of years. Alan Watts would kind of demystify ideas like this. And he would just point out that if you buy the idea, which is really more than an idea, ideas are what I was just talking about as being conceptual or symbolic of reality. If you buy into reality that it is all one big system, one big energy, and that you're part of that, then the universe really is aware of itself through you, through your senses. This whole system of energy can be aware of itself. But then Alan would point out that the part doing the awareness can't be really aware of itself. In the same way that you can't bite your own teeth or see your own eyes. And he would point out that if you try to look at yourself, try to look at your own head, for instance, all you see is blank. And this takes it back to that nothingness I was talking about. There is this nothingness, and this nothingness is kind of where this awareness comes out of. It's a difficult idea to get your mind around. But if you spend a little bit of time trying to look at your own head and noticing what that looks like, you find that there is this nothingness that everything comes out of. And this actually applies to a lot of different parts of life. If you start thinking about the idea of death, for instance, which is one of the big boogeymen of human beings. If you start thinking about death, Alan Watts would say, so what's it going to be like to die? I mean, what's it going to be like to go to sleep and you know, he would mention that this gives a lot of people the creeps. But then he would say, well, what was it like before you were born? If you go back and try to remember what it was like before you were born, you finally get to a place where there's just nothing. And then he points out that, well, when you're gone, it's going to be just like that. There's just going to be nothing. And no one to regret it. And the energy that you're a part of, the whirlpool of life that you're a part of, you're still a part of that. It's just that the brain that you have that's becoming aware of the universe, that God is becoming aware of the universe through that brain. When that brain is gone, that awareness will disappear, but it will come again in another child, in another baby, in another insect, in another worm. He would often point out that every worm, every insect, every cat, every dog sees itself as being the center of it all. And it is. You're the center of it all, and every snail is the center of it all.